Woke up in bed at the corner of Lex with a dream of how it used to be. Remembering the time of the Exodus and how the Jews were set free. Jumped in the cab, throwing a Seder for the first time. Look to the right and I see the Manischewitz sign. I'm hosting my first Seder, so please don't be a hater. My tummy's turning, hope my Seder is amazing. So much pressure that I'm schwitzing. That's when the matzah man turned on the radio. The Dayenu song was on. And the Dayenu song was on. And the Dayenu song was on. So I put my yarmulke on, they're playing my song, and the butterflies fly away. Cleaning it up like yeah, grinding it up like yeah. Fill the wine up in Elijah's cup, I know it's gonna be okay. Yeah.
So this is the scenario that we're in. And Moshe, that is his name, Moses, returned to Yahweh, Yod, He, Vav, He, Yahweh, and said, Yahweh, why have you done evil to this people? Why did you send me? For ever since I came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has done evil to this people, and you have not delivered your people at all. So that was the question that Moshe gave Yahweh. So, we know that he gave his name, and Yahweh said to Moses, now see what I do to Pharaoh, for with a strong hand he is going to let them go, and with a strong hand he is going to drive them out of his land. And Elohim spoke to Moses and said to him, I am Yahweh, and that's his name, and I appeared to Abraham, to Yitzchak, and to Jacob as El Shaddai, and by my name Yahweh was I not known to them. So this is our opening verse in our Torah. So, Yahweh was already made known to Moses, his name, Yod, He, Vav, He, that this is his name, but he appeared to Abraham, Yitzchak, those are his name, and Jacob, which is Jacob, as El Shaddai. So we'll go through the names, what do they mean? And we're going to look at my name, which is Yahweh, and this name is used about 6,800 times in the Bible today. When you see L, capital O, capital R, capital D, that's the English version of it, Yahweh. Okay? But I like this version of the Bible because it just writes down the Hebrew name, Yahweh. So the name is used over 6,000 times, almost 7,000 times in the Bible. So how could Abraham, Yitzchak, and Jacob not know this name? Okay? But we will learn what that means in a while. So, our parsha this week opens with the balance of Yahweh's reply, and we read, and Elohim spoke to Moshe and said to him, I am Yahweh. So, this verse reads in Hebrew that way. You read it if you're Hebraic. And I appeared to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Jacob as El Shaddai, but my name Yahweh was not known to them. So the title is Va'ira because I appeared. Okay, that's why we say it's a Va'ira. And it means I appeared and I revealed myself. And it moves on that Yahweh is equals to faithful. But he appeared to Abraham as El Shaddai. So what is El Shaddai? So we learned that we need to interpret this verse not as Abraham, Yitzchak, and Jacob did not know him as Yahweh. Because that name is being mentioned all throughout Genesis. And he said to him, I am Yahweh who brought you out of Ur. And the Chaldeans, remember he spoke that to Abraham. But yet he spoke in the beginning that I have only made myself known to them as El Shaddai, not Yahweh. But yet here in this verse we see that he's speaking, I am Yahweh. And see, Yahweh stood above it and said, I am Yahweh, Elohim of Abraham, your father, Elohim of Yitzchak. Elohim is God, God of Abraham, God of the father of Yitzchak. The land of which you are lying, I give it to you and your seed. So we see that there's the promise given to Abraham, Yitzchak, Jacob. And he says, this is the El Shaddai. the God that has the promise given to you. And Yahweh is the faithful, which is the God who fulfills his promises. You see, Abraham did not see the day that this promise was fulfilled. He didn't say his numbers, his seed would be as numerous as the sand of the sea. So El Shaddai literally translates to El, which is Elohim, the mighty one, the Almighty. Shaddai, what's wonderful, it's a feminine. He's shed or breasting or nursing, and also meaning enough. So El Shaddai is the God, the all-sufficient, revealing the maternal quality of God's character. He comforts, he nurtures, he sustains life. And since it relates to the Hebrew word for a woman's breast, so you can say that that in and by his mightiness he sustains us. So this is the El Shaddai that Abraham, Yitzchak, and Jacob know. So now we see that he reveals himself, appeared to Abraham and said, El Shaddai, walk before me, be perfect, and I give my covenant between me and you, and shall greatly increase you. That's the promise. And in the same way, he also gave that promise to Jacob, to Elohim. He said, I am El Shaddai, bear fruit and increase. So this is the promise of the Lord, commanding them to increase. You see, God is a God of increase, and he wants his people to increase. So God promises inheritance for your children and your children's children. And I also established my covenant with them to give them a land of Canaan, the land of their sojournings in which they have sojourned. So this is the promise to Abraham. So this is the covenant that he established with Abraham, but not known to him as the Yahweh. So why is this important? Because, well, it's saying that he is revealing himself as Yahweh through Moses, and this is a new revelation in the Torah to Moses, because now God is going to reveal himself as the one who fulfills his promises. So now Moses believes God because God has spoken to Abraham, and now this is his part. That is the Yahweh part. The El Shaddai part was given to Abraham, now is the Yahweh part. You know, we also have parts in this life of what part that our role will bring into this life as we know God. So we can see that there are people that are set for this, and there's people who are set for this. And Pharaoh said, who is this Yahweh? I do not know him. Why should I obey his voice? Why should I let Israel go? I do not know him, and I will not let Israel go. And the Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me unto you. This is my name, this is interesting, forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. Wow. So now, from then on to now, he says, for all generations, that his name shall be a memorial. And his name is Yahweh. I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So how do we know God? This is his memorial. This is his name. Over the period of years, somehow, that name had been, careful, don't mention that name. Because most of the Jewish people, as they went through the years, they were so careful, obeying the law, that they were so just looking into the rituals of the law, that they were so afraid of that particular sin, which is using the name of the Lord in vain. So they kept this name a little bit on the side, and they started using other names such as Elohim, such as other names, Adonai and Jehovah, and they started using. When Jesus came, you see, his name is Yahshua, which is the name of Yahweh, Shua, which is the salvation of Yahweh. They got intimidated with this. And they were watching Yeshua and watching so carefully that what he might do, for every little thing that he might do, that he might be guilty of blasphemy or using the name of the Lord in vain. So you see how they were all eyes on him, because he seems to be doing that particular thing that they have been so careful about. So you see, over the years, we don't get to know who Yahweh is because they have hid it. But somehow the Lord now is revealing himself to us and you and me for today, that he is Yahweh, the one who fulfills his promises. So we need to learn about him, of how he promised the forefathers in the past and how He will fulfill His promises today and the day to come. And He has still so many promises given to His people that it's yet to be fulfilled. So Moses believed that, and he knew his part. And Yahweh also denotes these characters of chesed, loving kindness, or mercies. That also goes along with that name. Okay? So, while Yahweh delivers the children of Israel from Egypt, there is also great judgments will be upon Pharaoh and Egypt and their gods. But He also demonstrates mercies and kindness to His people, Israel. In fact, in the midst of this furnace of affliction, while Israel was going through, He chose Israel as His precious treasures, and He shows them the truth of His salvation, which is another attribute of Yahweh, which is the eternal truth. So, at the same time as God judges Egypt, in the same way He also shows His mercy and tender mercies to His people. So see, we learned also last week about the two suns. That the sun that brings darkness into this earth. By the way, darkness into this earth is a theme in the book of Exodus, because one of the plagues, one of the last plagues, the 9th plague, was the plague of darkness. So you can see the parallel of this in a short while. That we'll see also in the last days the darkness that is to come. And as we see the darkness, also there's tender mercies extended to God's people. And we're going to see also in the understanding of the plagues that there are particular plagues that all of Israel will go through and all of Egypt will go through. Then there are sets of plagues where only the Egyptians will go through and the Israelites or Jewish people will be spared. One interesting note. When they came to Egypt, coming from Canaan because of there was a famine in the land, so they came down to Egypt where Joseph was. The names of the people where all the 12 tribes of Israel was there. Did you notice that? So they were listed by the names of the children of Jacob. There were 70 of them altogether with their families. Then when they leave now Egypt, amazingly, all the 12 names are intact. So after 400 years, the 12 tribes of Israel remains the same. And they're still there. Guess what? Where do you see the names of Israel again? The last book of the Bible, the book of Revelation. Well, of course, we have the 144,000 that's going to be called out by the Lord to be given the mark, 12,000 from each tribe. But guess what? And a new Jerusalem shall rise, and there are 12 sides of the walls, and in each side are 3 doors or 3 gates. All in all, 12 gates with all the names of the 12 tribes of Israel. So you see the recurrence. When they came to Egypt, all the 12 was there. When they came out of Egypt, all the 12 were there. When they occupied Canaan, all the 12 were there. And then when they came back again, in the book of Revelation, all 12 tribes are intact. So, this is the God that just closes in on us and showing us that the God that started all these things, the God who finishes all these things, and what He is, He's showing us here is a theme that we'll go through, and we're going to see the end of what God has planned to do in His creation.
Woke up in bed at the corner of Lex with a dream of how it used to be. Remembering the time of the Exodus and how the Jews were set free. Jumped in the cab, throwing a Seder for the first time. Look to the right and I see the Manischewitz sign. I'm hosting my first Seder, so please don't be a hater. My tummy's turning, hope my Seder is amazing. So much pressure that I'm schwitzing. That's when the matzah man turned on the radio. The Dayenu song was on. And the Dayenu song was on. And the Dayenu song was on. So I put my yarmulke on, they're playing my song, and the butterflies fly away. Cleaning it up like yeah, grinding it up like yeah. Fill the wine up in Elijah's cup, I know it's gonna be okay.